Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. Know it's a lot of you out there shouting at the top of your lungs right now. Thank God it's Friday. You've had a long week. You've met all types of challenges, and now you're sitting in and saying, hey, I get to kind of kick back and relax for the weekend. So celebrate your accomplishments, learn from your setbacks and your failures, build a new idea and focus of where you're going in the coming weeks, and pursue greatness in what you do. Pursue a standard of excellence in what it is you intend to accomplish. Have a clear set intention of what it is you want to do. The power of intention is immensely uh, conducive to achieving success. You really need to understand what you're intending to do. You got to have a clear vision of what it is you're attempting to accomplish. So with that being said, I want you to really and truly focus on what it is you're trying to do. Again, there are a couple of promos in the description box. I'm not going to get into the details of them, but definitely always check the post box, description box, or wherever you find the information that explains what's in the video. Always check it, because I'm always going to have something I'm offering at a particular moment. And so definitely check that. And I'll be coming back to you a couple of times later. Today is going to be one of those days. I really got a lot to deliver to you guys, and I'm hoping that you'll get back and check out each one. So I want to talk to you today about the importance of self-awareness. I mean, of course, one of the most prevalent questions I have gotten over the course of my mostly adult life, and even a certain amount of time before I actually hit adulthood, when things were just really rolling along for me, one of the most common questions that I've entertained over that period of time is, where does it begin? What does success start? It's easy to look at a person, and I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about every person you look at and you see something in that you aspire to, and see the end product without understanding what that person went through. And then there are a lot of people out there that aren't very transparent about the struggles, the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the failures that led to the success. And so it's easy to presume or postulate that they, just coasted, or they were built some kind of way, or they have something different than everybody else has, because you're looking at the end result. And what you need to do is be able to go underneath that and see what the story is, what the process entailed, all of the things that led up to this thing that you're observing now. Because I can tell you from experience, I can tell you from being taught, I can tell you from the things that I have experienced personally, that it's a process, and process always precedes promise. There's a promise associated with your natural gifting, your unique talent, your inherent genius, and everybody has it. You've heard me say that I don't know how many times, that everybody has an inherent genius. And the problem with our culture is we don't teach to the unique genius in individuals. We standardize expectations and levels of performance and measurements. And so the mechanisms that we measure through are standardized. And so if a person doesn't do well within these standardized mechanisms, they are seen or deemed to be less than average, or, likely to perform poorly in life, when the truth is it's the responsibilities of those entrusted with an individual when they're young to look inside of them and find the genius. And I was fortunate enough to have a great grandmother who adopted, well, great grandparents who adopted me, and a great grandmother who looked inside of me and saw the genius early in life and started to stoke it, nurture it, challenge it. And so I got to experience a lot of things early in life that told me I can pretty much do anything I want to. But not everybody's going to see that, because we live in a standardized world where everybody's expecting you to perform like little Johnny, or little Susie, or little Becky, or whoever, little Kathy, whoever is setting the standard in the standardized world, and they're expecting you to perform that way. But if you really truly look at yourself, you're not built like anybody else. You know, outside of sharing human attributes and traits physiologically and emotionally and mentally, you are a unique person in every other way. How you see life, how you view life, what, you know, your makeup, how your imagination explores possibilities is all unique to you, because that's where you separate yourself from the rest of the world and present your greatness. But the problem is, most people are trying to be like everybody else. And most people are looking to someone else to validate them. Most people are looking to earn the approbation of the people in their periphery, because that's how they feel important. And see, the thing is, one thing, and I shared this earlier, one thing that I've heard some pretty powerful one-liners from Quincy Jones. And, you know, I find people who came from nowhere and went somewhere. That's who I like to study. People who started with nothing and ended up with a lot, and to study how they did it. And there are a couple of things that stood out about Quincy. One of the things that stood out is I happened to be at a seminar that he was at, and he was brought up on stage. And the guy who was holding the seminar was actually Jim Quick. This guy's off the chain. When I want to learn about brain performance, not how it operates. You know, when I want to know how it operates, the neurological makeup and the movements and the developments, I tend to focus on two people, Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton. And then, you know, things that branch out for there. But but when it comes to taking your brain and getting the most out of it, Jim Quick by far. Dude's a beast. But I was at one of the seminars, and he brought up Quincy Jones, and he asked Quincy Jones how he had accomplished so much starting where he started and all the problems he faced with racism and all that. And Quincy's response was, I don't have problems. I've never had problems. And it's like, come on, Quincy, you're a black man. You grew up in a situation where you were in the midst of, you know, you were born during Jim Crow. So you had problems. No, he said, I don't have problems. I have puzzles. And the very nature of identifying your challenges as a puzzle means that it can be solved. You can solve puzzles. That's what they're made for. It's made to be solved. So when you see something as solvable, it's no longer problematic. It simply needs to be engaged. And another thing he said was even more empowering for me. He said that not one drop of his self-worth depends on your acceptance of him. And that to me is so powerful, because we are trained to seek the acceptance and the approbation and approval of other people on a consistent basis. And when we don't get it, it takes out of us, it shrinks us, and we don't seem to strive to be ourselves. So we spend a lot of time trying to be what other people think we should be in order to get their approval, in order to get their acceptance. And what we end up doing is dwindling and diminishing who we are as an individual. See, when you stop looking for the approbation, the approval, the acceptance, and the validation of someone else, then you are able to truly live and step inside of who you are, what you were designed to do, where your gifting and genius lies. And so that's important. But how do you get to a point where you don't need external validation? How do you get to a point where you don't need to earn the approbation or approval of someone else? If you don't need someone to tell you that you are good at what you do, that you're a beast at what you do, that you're exceptional, phenomenal, extraordinary, great. How do you get there? It all starts at the soul of greatness and success, and that self-awareness. If you don't know who you are, you cannot consistently achieve true success. You might get some things. You might get some pats on the back. You might get your name on a plaque or a diploma. But until you know who you are, you can't access, actualize, and properly focus your gifting and your genius. It's in the discovery of self-awareness that you birth confidence. It is in the awareness of self that you get a clear idea of your assignment on this planet. It is in the discovery of self that you are able to establish exactly who you are, and then you become aware of it at a level that it does not require external validation. It is when you discover who you are and fall in love with it and all of its uniqueness and the ways that it distinguishes itself from everything else. When you determine within yourself who you are, then you discover why you're here. When you discover why you're here, you're now acquainted with your purpose. And the moment you become acquainted with your purpose, you now have birthed your passion. And that passion is the force that will push you through everything that you come up against, even when it seems bigger than you. See, the problem and the reason so many people quit and have to start over and over and over again in life is because they haven't discovered themselves, become acquainted with their passion, can't become acquainted with their purpose and birth their passion. So every time they hit something that's hard, that seems bigger than them, they back down. But when you become acquainted with who you are, when you develop a sense of self-awareness and you know who you are, and you're not shaken by the other by the external opinions or the opinions of others, you don't define yourself by how other people define you. You define yourself by what you know is on the inside. Then you become somebody unique and special. And it starts with valuing yourself. See, you don't look to somebody else to establish your value. You establish your value by discovering your purpose. And inside of that purpose, discovering your internal genius. Everybody has it. Again, I want that very, very clear. Everybody has a genius. I don't care who you are. I've worked with kids with autism. I've worked with kids with Down syndrome. I've worked with kids who were declared or diagnosed as being mildly mentally retarded. I have worked with kids with oppositional defiant disorder. I have worked with kids who were told they diagnosed with ADHD. I have worked with young men and women who came out of broken homes, abusive homes, all of this. People extreme poverty. And what I can tell you, I've yet to meet a person without an inherent genius, something on the inside of them that makes them unique and special. And when they learn to tap into it, they do extraordinary things. I have a former client who used to be a client, who's now a friend, has Asperger's, which is a high spectrum form of autism. This dude is creating an international company as we speak. I mean, people that you just don't get to talk to. He's creating this thing around these people, and they're flocking to him. And his ability to focus, because that's what Asperger's does. It calls you to have one focus, and you can't get out of that focus. Whatever it is, you're unbelievably great at it. And like for instance, I see a video floating around social media about this young Black artist who can literally take a flight over the entire city landscape and remember it in his mind and then go back and paint it with unbelievable detail. Has Asperger's. That's that focus. There are some people, and I'm quickly becoming a part of this thinking. There are some people who believe that actually high spectrum autism, like Asperger's, is actually the next stage in the evolution of the brain, where humans now have problems focusing. A person who has Asperger's doesn't get caught up in what everybody else is doing, trying to do everybody else. They focus on that one thing and they get it done. And so it's a radical way of thinking. But when you learn how to nurture a kid with autism and stop trying to make them behave the way you think they should or perform the way you think they should, you get so much out of them. It's amazing. And so there's this genius there that we have to learn about ourselves. And then the problem is so many people quit because they don't have it. They don't know who they are. They don't know why they're here. They don't have any true sense of force that's pushing them through the difficult moments. So every time that they reach a difficult moment, they quit. But I'm telling you that when you develop a sense of awareness, you literally open up the gate of greatness and success. As a matter of fact, when you truly sink into who you are, you live your purpose every day and you don't act now, you don't have to chase greatness. You don't have to chase success. It'll overtake you. It'll literally come find you. It'll literally consume and overtake you when you are working in a confidence that believes I'm living in my purpose and nothing can stop me. And when you do that, when you do it, and don't bow down to fear. I once heard that when you travel to the center of fear, you find that there's absolutely nothing there but fear feeding on itself. The more you entertain fear, the bigger it becomes, the greater it becomes, the more stronger it becomes, the more paralyzing it becomes. You have to understand that there are certain things in life that'll happen. Obviously, you don't go throw yourself in front of a bus, but what you don't do is not go outside. You've got to understand, I'm not going to take unnecessary risks, but in order to achieve the things in life that I want, I'm going to have to take some risks. I'm going to have to get out there and do some things. I'm going to have to take a risk of losing, take a risk of getting hurt, take a risk of being disappointed and frustrated. experiencing delay. That's a part of the process, but I'm not going to sit in the house and let life pass me by. Look, I just wanted to drop that on you. Like I said, make it a practice when you watch the videos to always go to the description box, because I may get caught up and not remind you, but go to the description box, check out what we're offering for that day or for whatever period of time it's being offered. Go for whatever you feel you want to go for. But what you need to do is make a consistent effort at becoming better at who you are, not becoming what someone else wants you to be, but becoming who you are. Be the best you. Nobody else can do you like you. That's where you're going to shine, is in being you, not trying to mimic someone else, not trying to be someone else. Find your zone, find where you're good at, find that sweet spot and ride the living daylight out of it. Just be better at it, be stronger at it, be more focused at it, and you'll find that it'll work for you. It'll create space for you. It'll create opportunities for you. It'll draw the right people to you if you really and truly embrace who you are. And with that, I'm going to get out for here. I'm going to leave you with this, something I say quite often, almost every time I'm in front of an audience, a crowd, or anybody. Look, live your life on full so that you die on E. I hope I'm making myself clear. I believe it was Dr. Miles Monroe where I first heard it. He said that the wealthiest place on this planet is the graveyard. You'll find books unwritten, businesses not started, speeches not rendered, inventions not followed through on, visions not accessed and attained, and on down the line. It's where people are buried that never went after who they were, never truly pursued greatness on any level. They just came and existed or survived as long as they could and left this planet. Don't be that. Live your life on full. See, if you live your life on full, you'll die on E, meaning that you will access everything inside of you. You will make use of every moment, every second, every day of your life. And when you do that, when you make use of your 86,400 seconds that you have in each day, I mean, and even when you're sleeping, you're making use of it. That's where you renew. That's where you rejuvenate. That's where you re-energize. That's where you regain a clarity through rest. So even sleeping the right amount of hours, not sleeping all day long, is not good. But when you sleep the right amount of hours to have the most optimal performance for each day, that is making use of your time. So though every second has purpose, and that's what people lose sight of. People tend to treat time casually, as if they can regain it once it's gone. Anything that once it's gone, you will never get back, should never be treated casually. So every second has purpose, and you should want to tap into every second and get what you can out of it. But the problem is, we see these seconds as these little small increments that in and of and by themselves mean nothing. But in that second, you've got a thought at least. Is your thought pure? Is your thought focused on where you're going? Is the idea you're entertaining in a string of seconds going to be conducive to producing the desires of your heart and making you more impactful in this world? Or are you wasting those precious moments and then not understanding that how you spend your time today will produce your future for tomorrow? Live your life on full, down E, and leave a legacy behind that speaks of you long after you're gone. That should be your goal. Touch this world in a way that's so emphatic that people can't forget you, that they know you were here. Money is secondary. It'll come. If you become the best you can and you serve the needs of the people in a way that nobody else can, the value you bring to the table will guarantee that you'll have money. What I'm talking about is, are you leaving a legacy? Don't get so focused on the money that you lose sight of your purpose. Don't get so focused on the money that you lose sight of why you're really here. Are you serving people? Are you touching people? Are you reaching people? Are you changing the lives of people? If you are, then all this other stuff will fall into place. But I'm challenging you to down E. With that being said, look, I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, I'm going to check in a few other times uh, uh, during the week. Also, I want to remind you, and I'm going to be sharing some things with you in upcoming videos as we move closer to it. But on November the 9th, I will be a part of a webinar conference that is entitled "No Excuses," being offered by Body by God. Um, and it's a company and organization that I'm excited to partner with and do some things with. Those of you know, my first business was a fitness company, and which still is still around, as a matter of fact. So that's 30 years deep. But I have this passion, and so this connection is big, and I'm going to actually be the lead-off speaker at this conference. It's going to be a 2-day conference, November 9th, November 10th. I'm going to share the links and all that stuff coming up in the next video. Matter of fact, I might come back and add it to this video. So if you are watching this after it's actually streamed, then you will have the link to the conference added as well. You can go in and check it out, and I'll continue to tell you about it. But the conference is about no excuses. And I'll be leading it off on November the 9th. I'll get the details of when it's going to start and all of that. But definitely, if you get a chance, register, sign up, be there. Because there are going to be some people there that are really inspiring, can take you to a place you need to be at in order to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. And I'm going to give you 1 hour of everything I've got. And if you've seen any detailed, comprehensive videos, you know I can do a lot with an hour. So I will do my best to bring my A game that day. And so with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. And I'm out. Peace.